Style is more than looks, it's harmony. And the right style brings your home together. Welcome to the Garage Authority Podcast, powered by A1. I'm your host, Jonithan Phillips, and today we have a very, very, very special guest. The one and only, the Prince of Garage Doors, Luke Martin. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great. Excited
Just one
to be
high
here.
Five. I got to start it every single time. For those of you that don't know, and this is going to be a pop quiz for me, see if I get this right. So with my mentor in Garage Doors, Travis Rackley, you guys started together 2003?
Correct.
2003, so in the truck with that, using MapQuest and Nextel walkie-talkies, trying to go around from job to job.
Well, even before MapQuest, there was MapBooks.
MapBooks, yes.
You know, so it's like you had to know your major cross streets just to get into the area and then like map it in the book and find your street. So yeah, it's a little different than what we do today.
Yeah, for sure.
And then, training was about 3 weeks of crash course and then a Nextel walkie-talkie and good luck.
Dang. And then we do that till 2011 or 12, somewhere in there?
Right in there, yeah.
And then is that whenever Luke started his own garage door company where you were making custom doors from scratch?
Yeah, started, that wasn't the intent when I started. The intent was just to be another service company.
Right.
And, you know, there was a kind of a defining moment where, you know, I was at a customer's house quoting some nice wood overlay doors, and it was a very large ticket.
Yes.
And so
they're expensive.
You know, in my mind, customers would have never spent that much on doors.
Right.
You know, because I never would have spent that much on doors. But they were very excited about it, and so that was kind of a light bulb moment to kind of create a company that serves that higher end clientele, and then really started to focus on custom home builders that were building multi-million-dollar homes that, you know, knew they were going to want doors like that.
Right.
So, and that's where the shift kind of happened.
Now, one of my favorite pictures when, because Luke comes into the academy and talks with the students, and in his PowerPoint slide, one of my favorite pictures is a Google image of his old house that he used to live in with his truck and company name and sawhorses in his front yard. That's where we started at, building them directly outside in your front yard.
It's one of my favorite images, too. It's very humbling to remember where it all started.
Yeah.
And exciting. So,
And then I think we do that till about 2017, if I remember correctly.
That's correct.
And that's when you came to A1 Garage Door, and we actually
nailed it.
Did door 48 for a while. Mm-hmm. And then now at this point, we're just, it's so large that we can pick up those custom-made wood doors and... November of 2017 is when I joined A1, so it's been 8 years, which is cool. But yeah, a couple years ago, we just, you know, when we look at the business and decide what makes sense, you know, how can we best serve our customers, the manufacturing piece really no longer made sense for us and allowed us to just hyper-focus on the customer experience, let the manufacturing people do the manufacturing, and let us do what we do best. Yeah, and then from there, your journey at A1, I mean, I started as a general manager for install for like the entire company.
Started just in sales. Just doing like builder sales and really door sales.
Okay.
Bringing that kind of element. When I started at A1, we didn't really provide a lot of that option to the customer. It was more like, hey, let's just fix your current door and not really putting it on the table of like, you know, a lot of people want something that looks nicer, looks new, is quieter, you know, versus dumping a bunch of money into their current door.
Right.
And that mentality didn't really exist. And so we kind of helped drive that change in the early days of, well, let's just ask the customer. Maybe they might want a new door.
Right.
You know, Tommy always uses the example of, you know, I don't need the new iPhone, but when it comes out, I go and get it, right? Because I want it. And what if a customer wants a new door? They should have the opportunity to know everything that we offer.
That's why one of the biggest misunderstandings, if I'm being completely candid about A1 Garage Door, because there are some people that agree and some people that don't. You know, there are still those mom and pop shops that have been running 30, 40 years. And they go out there, and if it's one safety eye bracket or jam bracket, that's it. But the way that attracted me to come to A1 is whenever I go to a door and I see that bracket, I'm able to tell that there's cracks on a panel and, you know, your H-frame that it's mounted to, we got cracks in that, and the spring pad and your bearings are going bad and your door's 40 pounds on the ground. I'm going to fix that bracket for you, but I'm also going to let you know about everything else so you know where you stand, what's going to happen in the future. And sometimes it's like building a car. So my first car was a 1996 Chevy Cavalier.
Okay.
And had a cracked head gasket, and the back seat, if you slammed on the brakes too hard, would fly up and hit the back of your head. And finally, because I didn't know how to maintain a car, it got to the point where the engine just blew. And then they said it'll cost $5,000 to put a new engine in it.
Yeah.
Worth more than the car itself. So,
Right.
get a new one. And that's how I feel about garage doors too.
I agree. I think there's, in the past, been a stigma because traditionally the garage door industry has been Band-Aid fixes.
Yes.
Just, you called me out for X, that's all I'm going to fix. I'm not even going to look at anything else. I'm not going to talk about anything else. And I think that's really doing a disservice to the client when now you're going to call me 3 months from now because something else went bad that I could have caught when I was there. Or you're going to call me 6 months again. And we end up being there multiple times a year, year after year after year. I mean, you were in the field just as long as I was, if not longer. And you come across those clients.
Yes.
And I will tell you, our clients that call us frequently tend to just do the Band-Aid repairs, and then they start to get frustrated.
Yeah, they get really mad at us.
The clients that appreciate, hey, we're going to tell you about everything. It is up to you what's right for you and your family, whether you do it or not. This isn't like high pressure, but it is our job as professionals to notify you of any concerns we might see with the door.
Right.
It's your job to determine whether you want to take care of it today or punt it down the road and fix it in the future. But, also just understanding what is everything we have to offer. I'm sure you've heard this, like customers assume we don't even do new doors. We're just a repair company.
It happens all the time.
So, we need to inform our customers what we're able to do, what we can do, and how we can service them best. And to me, it's all about service level.
Right.
Garage door companies in the past is, their service level is, yeah, I'll show up, I'll fix your door, and I'm on my way. And I'm going to visit 8 or 10 or 12 customers a day and not spend a lot of time caring about the customer, caring about their door, caring about them and getting to know them. And that's just not how we do business. We want to get to know our customers. We want to make customers for life. We want our technicians to be the door guy for that customer. And that oftentimes happens where customers call in, they're like, I want John, or I want Eric, or I want Justin, not just I want A1. And I think that's very important because these guys spend time getting to know them, what's important to you. And as a customer, that's what I would want.
Right.
I'm building a house right now, and 2.5 years later, but almost done.
Almost.
But that relationship that I've built with some of the contractors is super important, where others, it's like, I'm just a number, right?
It's really that relationship, though, when you talk about building your home, that regardless of even if it's just kind of jokes or, busting each other a little bit or laughing, that's a really intimate relationship because they're building where you're going to make memories with your family and what you stare at every day.
Totally.
And I get that garage doors isn't the entire house, but 40% of your curb appeal of what you pull up to every day and the way you get in and out of your home for every experience, every soccer game, for the bad days on hospital visits, like that should be a type of relationship where you really kind of check those people out and feel comfortable with them.
Yeah. I think garage doors is unique in the sense that, if you're going to purchase an HVAC system or a plumbing system, there's no aesthetics. Like, the HVAC system doesn't come in 7 different colors. Like, nobody cares. It's like, just make sure it blows cold air and hot air, and we're good, right?
Awesome cedar box that's stained around it.
Yeah. So, but when it comes to the garage door, there's a functionality. Like, you want it to work when you need it to work. It always tends to fail at the worst opportune times. You're going to the airport for a vacation, you're late for work, whatever. And that tends to be the time your garage door is going to fail.
Every time.
So there's a functionality piece that you want it to be reliable. Then there's a safety piece. Largest moving object in your home, right? You want to make sure it opens and closes reliably. Kids are going in and out of there. They're getting their bikes in and out. You've seen it just as much as I had. And it's a scary thing when they come off track.
It's terrifying.
Yeah, so you want to make sure it's operating at optimal performance.
Right.
And then there is the aesthetic piece to it, which I think is where this kind of differentiates from a lot of home service, things in your home. And to your point, 40% of your curb appeal, if you've ever purchased a home, when you're on Zillow, like flipping through pictures, they stick out when there's a really nice garage door.
On a fisheye lens of the house almost?
Yeah, it's like you stop on that window, like that house looks great. And it's, I think for the average consumer or homeowner, they don't really know that it's the garage door that's calling to them, but it's the overall image of the home.
Right.
And, then you stack on top of it, it's the best investment you can make in your home. We're up to 258% ROI.
I think it was 68.
268?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I underestimated, which is good. So you just got an extra 10%. But it's incredible because if you ask anybody, hey, what's the best thing you can do on your home? Kitchen remodel, bath remodel is 99% of the time the answer they're going to give you, right? And none of those even get you 100% ROI in your home. And we're talking 268% at a lower investment cost point as well.
Right.
Remodeling your kitchen, you could easily get into six figures depending on the finishes you pick. For garage door, I mean, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 gets you an incredibly nice garage door.
Yes.
So, and you get a better return on that investment in your home value.
The aesthetics, the style is exactly why I brought you on today. Because today's episode is garage door styles from modern to traditional. And since this man has built garage doors in his front yard in the grass on sawhorses, I'm like, who better can we have to talk about this subject? So to kick it off, what are the most popular styles today that you feel clients are going for?
Yeah, I might backtrack in time a little bit to start this. When I started in garage doors 2003, 2004, there was like three options. It was like, do you want a short panel, a long panel? Do you want white or almond?
Yeah.
There was more than that, but that was 99%. The industry, the manufacturers, what they have grown into, the product lines today are incredibly robust.
Yes.
There are so many offerings, not just designs, not just colors, but material options, textures. So there really is, a very deep process to go through to like find what fits right. Then certain times you're battling HOAs, right?
Yes.
Maybe battling isn't the right word.
No.
I have a PTSD. So, but it's, it's understanding what are you allowed to have in your community. Sometimes there are some limitations, but, when I think about it, I see everybody shifting towards either modern or carriage house.
Yeah.
That tends to be really the popular stuff these days.
So modern is just, kind of windows going straight down the side or some sort of weird carriage house. Kind of has like a farmhouse look to it sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, when you think modern, you're thinking clean, straight lines, glass.
Yes.
Whether it's different window orientations, that's different than just the windows across the top. That is pretty common. Even just a sleek flush panel door, right?
Right.
No embossment, no squares, no windows, like something like that. And then the wood grain colors, I think, over the past really 10, 15 years have become incredibly, they just look really nice now. When they first came out, it looked fake, right? And they've come a long way, and now they have this plank series where...
It's my favorite.
Yeah.
It's my favorite so far.
And it's printed on a steel door.
Yeah.
It's incredible. And if you just drive by, it's like, if you get the right one from the right manufacturer, Clopay, Amar, they make great doors. If you don't look close, it looks like a wood door as you drive by.
Yeah.
So it's incredible the options that are available today. My heart goes to wood, like real wood.
Yeah.
That's where my passion is. I love woodworking. I loved building those doors. And, they just feel very authentic. But, I mentioned I was just building a house. I didn't do a real wood door. I did a faux wood door.
Yeah.
And Clopay has an incredible product called the Canyon Ridge door where it looks like real wood. I mean, they are like planks of wood, but it is a synthetic polyurethane material. So it's lightweight, doesn't need to be refinished every year. So the maintenance is far less.
Weight's a lot better for the look
and the insulation is incredible on
it.
Because you're basically the planking is an extra layer of insulation. So, so I think modern, for a while there, the all glass doors with aluminum frames were extremely popular. They still are.
Yes.
I think the good news is, depending on the architecture of your home, the technology exists today for you to see what a door looks like on your home before you have to make that decision.
Yes.
So we can play around with it. If you have a modern home, we can put 5, 6, 7 different options in front of you to say what we think looks best, but ultimately, what do you think looks best? Then you start to introduce AI, right? Which is buzzword. Everybody's talking about it. There's a tool now where you can upload a picture of your home and just click the AI button, and it will just auto-generate things that it thinks looks good based on, thousands and tens and hundreds of thousands of images that have been uploaded into the system. So, there's a real opportunity now more than ever where you can visualize what it's going to look like, and you don't have to guess. You don't have to just look at an image of a door and then try to look at your house and be like, is that going to look good? Or just look at a small color sample and say, is that going to look good? Right. The tools that we offer and that really most great garage door companies offer allow you to have that image and that sense of comfort of knowing what it's going to look like on your house.
Yeah. I used to, before we could superimpose and put pictures, like take a picture of a client's home, and then upload the types of doors that they're interested in. I used to have to stand back with the color swatches, and I cut them to rectangular ones and single door ones, and we would go stand in the middle of the road one-eyed and be like, that kind of might be what we're talking about. So once the pictures came through, I was like, this is huge.
It's a big deal for customers.
Now, as far as wood doors, there's trending, and I think you kind of alluded that wood doors are kind of timeless. And I agree, too. There's some houses that I go to with wood doors, and I know that it's going to be more maintenance. Like, I prefer to go to those. They need to be, one, finished every year, and then probably have a professional come out twice a year, every 6 months. And once you have that wood look on that certain house, and then you have actual carriage bolts and hardware that go through the door, I'd say that's probably the most timeless, like a drawbridge to a castle.
100% timeless. Warms my heart when I see it. I mean, just you touch it, you feel it. It's like there's something about real wood, right? I mean, maintenance is typically the piece that detracts people from it, but a lot of it depends on what is the environment you're in. Right. Yeah. In Arizona, with the heat and the sun beating on it, absolutely, you got to refinish it more frequently. You're in a high moisture environment, you get a lot more expanding and contracting over the years. You need more service on your door to make sure that your opener's set correctly to manage those changes in weights because it'll soak up water. So there is like nuance to it depending on the environment that you live in. But the good news is we've seen it all. Yeah. We can help with any of that, and it is a timeless look. Like it's never not going to look great. Yeah. You can't go wrong with a wood door, and it's never a bad choice. Mm-mm. And in a lot of ways, I think we're actually seeing a resurgence of people getting wood doors. Mm. If you look at like the trends that we've seen over the past several years, I think there was a time where everybody was shifting to those like modern glass garage doors, and I think we're seeing a shift back towards wood and warm tones and kind of what my wife would call modern organic, I guess.
Modern organic.
At least that's what I've been told.
We got this door from Sprouts.
Yeah, that's what I've been told our house is. But it's getting away from those colder blacks and grays, which were very popular for a long time, and you're getting back into the warm browns and tan type colors, and that tends to be a shift we've seen over the past few years.
Whenever you were making custom doors, what's the one door to this day that was a nightmare to make? Like you wake up in the middle of the night, just like,
So it's a good question. So we created a product that we laminated smooth steel on the outside of a door, and then we would patina the steel.
Yes.
So think of it like basically pre-rusting metal, right? So it's a very rustic look. But it was unique because nobody else was doing it.
Right.
But you couldn't match, right? So like you do a house with 3 doors, every door is going to look different, not like wildly different.
Right.
And so, if the customer wasn't like, if you don't set the expectations correctly and they're like, well, what's going on? Because you order a highly manufactured door, you get a very consistent product time and time again. These ones are built one-off. Raw steel, you spray some chemicals on it to like kind of bring out different colors and rusting, and then you clear coat it, and it's like a work of art. But having like even individual panels in the same door not really match, or doors next to each other not match, like that I would struggle with a little bit, knowing that like, did I set the expectation right for the customer? Are they aware that this variance is going to be there?
Right.
Over the years of making those doors, we were able to kind of improve the process and make them more consistent, but there was still always that variation risk. So that was always the door that I loved and I think was super unique and nobody else offered at the time, but was one that was a little stressful.
Yeah, mixing styles.
Yeah.
I've had that a couple times. There was a nice lady in Kansas City, and she had gotten a house where they didn't maintain the wood doors, but she liked the look of it, so she just wanted a new one. So we had a guy in town. He was able to look at the doors, take measurements, and recreate those things. But then she had a pool house in the back, and she had a full view door on it with frosted glass, black all the way through. Well, then they had a detached garage. So you come up to the home, there's kind of like a wood door, 2 little wood doors. She got all those done. And then there's this standalone building, like for RVs. And her husband was like really big into motocross.
Okay.
So then she saw the one in the back, and she's like, let's do the big door like the one in the back. And I tried to warn her. That was one of the, where I felt awkward because it was her home, but I was like, that's going to look really bad from the beautiful wood doors. And then you have this glass, like that's bigger than how tall your house is right there. Like it sticks out. Yeah. And halfway through installing it, she told me to stop. No. She told me to stop.
That's brutal.
Yeah. And I just, sometimes mixing different styles isn't the best thing at the front of the house, I would say, but we'll do whatever you want.
It's hard because at the end of the day, look, we're not design experts. We're garage door experts.
Yes.
You know, I think we have a lot of experience of what we think looks good from a garage door standpoint. But, I mean, one of my pet peeves is, you know, you look at like a standard short panel, long panel garage door, and then you put like that magnetic hardware on it to try to make it look like a carriage house door. It's like, you're not fooling anybody, right? Like, but, you know, people love it. Yeah. And at the end of the day, I'm not coming home to that house every day. Homeowner is. If they're happy and they like it, that's what matters most.
Right.
And, you know, as long as we're providing the right service and cautioning them about the right things, and, you know, they understand the why and what they're getting, and potential risks or concerns that might come up. But I agree. Yeah, you have this nice traditional carriage house, wood doors, and then you just throw this ultra-modern door in the mix. It's, in my opinion, not a good mix. But again, how often do you have to go there? How often do I have to go there?
If you love it and you want it, we'll do it.
So it's hard. You got to toe that line with customers because they might have a very strong conviction of what they want. And it's not my job to tell you what you want or don't want. It's my job to just give you options. And, you know, again, I'm no design expert, and my wife will definitely tell you that.
Especially designing a home right now and having it built.
And she's got an incredible eye for design. So,
they all do.
You know, I had a bunch of opinions, and, you know, she won all of them.
Every single time.
So, but, I think the ultimate goal for us is be an expert on the garage door. Make sure you have a reliable door. Make sure we get the door that you ultimately want and love. And, you know, we don't stop till the customer's happy. You know this as well as I do. You know, if a customer's not happy, there's no length we won't go to fix it. Right. If that means going back to the house 15 times, if that means ultimately getting you a different door because you don't like the one you have, like, we will go above and beyond. You know, we truly believe we offer the best service in the industry, and I think every home service company should live up to that standard. You know, there's like a level of service expectation in the trades that I think is extremely low. You know,
you gotta make some people mad.
I mean, everybody's had a bad experience with a contractor. You know, quite frankly, these days, sometimes it's a win just if they pick up the phone. And I just think that's absurd. You know, we pride ourselves on offering the best service possible. From the second you call, you know, through the dispatch experience, through the technician showing up, the technician in your home, like, all of this needs to be like world-class, next level. Like, we want to be the benchmark, right? We don't want to try to achieve a benchmark that's out there. We want other people to try to achieve what we're offering. And I think that's, you know, something that, you know, we pride ourselves on. I know Tommy and I talk about this all the time is, you know, how do we offer that next level customer experience? Because at the end of the day, we all sell garage doors.
Yeah.
So why would you pick A1? You know, I think you pick A1 for our experienced trained technicians, knowing that they have every tool possible they could ever need to do the job correctly. They have the knowledge, the training, but they actually care about the customer. And that's the most important thing is, you know, we want to do what's right for you, and there's no stopping what we will do to make that happen.
Man, dude, I don't think we can beat that point. Honestly, that's beautiful. Luke, thank you so much for coming on. We'd love to have you back as soon as possible if you don't mind.
Anytime. Love it. It's a good time. Thanks, John.
Woo!